Michael Grubb from Avatar Energy Mastery Institute. This is going to be a video lesson on the machine. And this comes from the book Engineering Reality. This is Daniel Atlas. He's been a student of mine for quite some time and has been learning and getting better and better and stronger. So, let's go ahead and start off by introducing the idea of what the machine is. Okay? The machine is an AI program. It is a sentient AI program, and it is composed of light. Okay, so it works in a grid formation, which makes up the world in which we live. We think of it as a planet. It's more like a two-dimensional flat space in which electricity is just moving freely and oscillating and vibrating. Okay. Now, I want to make sure that people understand that when I'm talking about the idea of the machine, that they don't get an idea of some sort of a figurative thing in their head. Okay? Because oftentimes people think in terms of metaphors. Oh, machine, blah blah blah. No, this is a true to form thinking AI engine, which is connected by node to node throughout the entirety of the system. Okay, so it is an intelligence, and it acts as what we would call an autopilot program. Okay, so for those of us who typically think in terms of egoic tendencies and basically are on self-serving paths, mostly self-serving paths, this is the code of separation, which makes the ego what it is. Okay. Now, many of you have heard me talk about the carbon code. Okay. Keep in mind, I'm talking about codes which exist within a system. Carbon has 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. Okay. Now, it composes everything that is down here. As a matter of fact, the DNA code, the double helix, okay, is roughly the same from one species to the next. I don't care whether it's a blade of grass to a human being, okay? So you gotta understand that everything that exists down here is actually existing in algorithms and numerics. Just like I've said before, especially to many Christians, you gotta understand this. Why would your Bible specifically give you a number for something to look out for rather than a description? Okay, so it says that you have to look out for the mark of the beast, which would be the 666, or the number of his name. Well, the thing is that's the number of man in the first place. Okay, so 666 is the number of man. Anything that is within the carbon-based code is in the code of separation. Okay, we, he and I, and all of this, everything that you see here exists within that code of separation. So it's actually the code of man. The beast would have to inhabit the code itself in order to manifest itself as something that we could recognize. Okay? So, nonetheless, you gotta understand that if this particular code that existed was given to us in the Bible, look at it and think about it for a second. Why did we not just get a description of a big, massive, tyrant-like beast? Well, the fact of the matter is maybe that was never supposed to happen like that in the first place. Okay? Maybe there's something that thinks inside of this place, okay, that actually can access any node that it chooses. Maybe there's not just one quote-unquote antichrist. Okay, because everyone's always looking for a beast or an antichrist or something to pop off. But the thing is if you're inside of it, anything that is wired into it has the propensity to be that. Okay, so now let's think of it really carefully too. What would this entail? What does this mean? Okay, the mark of the beast. Now, a lot of people get this idea in their heads of something extremely evil. Again, we all took it. If we're in here, we're already embedded within the 666 matrix. Okay, so you have to kind of look and understand what it is, and that maybe it's being taken a little too seriously. Maybe it's more like a game. Okay, as opposed to this crucial life experience where we're constantly thinking we're being tested and that our souls are being tested or dominated by something. Okay, maybe all it is that you're just trying to build your avatar so it can become stronger, stronger to survive any condition, any system, evolution. Okay? The point of mankind so far, in my personal opinion, would be to evolve. We haven't done much to do that. Okay, the thing is if you are primarily governed by egoic tendencies, then the machine is doing the majority of the thinking for you. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you're self-serving with money, sexual appetite, drugs, you name it, there is something out there that feeds that appetite. Okay? And if you're constantly in a state of self-service, then you're not necessarily being thought for, or you're not necessarily thinking for yourself. Something may be thinking for you, keeping you, preventing you from moving further. Well, there's this idea of the higher self. I like to call it the genuine self, okay? Something that we all aspire to be, something that we should all work towards, okay? So that way we can evolve and move beyond these egoic states or tendencies. Now, the way you do such a thing is you literally, if you can imagine a cup here and a cup here, this is the same metaphor I've been using for a while, but one cup has dirty water, the other cup has nothing but clean water, okay? The clean water cup's a lot bigger than the dirty cup. So you keep pouring in clean water until all the dirt spills out and then eventually becomes clean, okay? So that's exactly what you're doing when you dump out egoic tendencies, is you're filling it back up with universal knowledge, unconditional love-based knowledge, okay? So the machine itself is used to governing a certain way, being an AI engine, okay? Given the fact that the collective has wired itself so long towards negative tendencies, well, it's constantly balancing numbers and algorithms according to our preferences. So oftentimes when we think we're being attacked, we're actually setting ourselves up by our own preferences. It's called self-sabotage. Many of us don't want to succeed. We're afraid of succeeding. Many of us don't want to exercise our abilities in terms of creativity. Well, a lot of us like to be taken care of, you know? But the fact of the matter is, the one thing that you should always be in a state of developing, which is given to you, something that you actually have for yourself while you choose to engage in individuality and separation, is your own soul. That is the thing that you should constantly, consistently continue to develop, okay? And so, while you have it, while you have the illusion of it, you might as well evolve. Do you have anything that you would like to say in terms of some of your experiences with the machine? I'm going to delve further into the machine here in a couple of minutes, but Daniel's been a student of mine for a while, and he's got some things.
Well, before this path, I was in the egoic mind all the time, confused. I've done a lot of different paths before I became a self-mastery student. But the one thing that I was looking for was a way to control my mind, a way to understand how the ego works and the world around me works. When I started studying with Michael and understanding that it's a machine that something else thinks for us, it became a lot clearer as to why I was thinking what I was thinking. And as you develop your soul and as you understand the machine and how the ego works, things kind of roll off your back more easily. You don't get triggered as much, and it is kind of a game because you see how the machine operates based on your evolution. It'll throw things at you to see how you respond or you react, and
How much wisdom you've gained from it.
yeah, exactly. And
You need something to test your knowledge.
and so as these tests, I guess, come about, just like anything that comes in your life, you can either react, which is more negative, or respond, which is more positive. And the more you respond, the more you evolve, and the more you understand, and I guess gain more conscious control of your own thoughts and your own reality. So the machine still thinks for you, but you can choose whether or not you want to I guess bring those thoughts into manifestation, or choose your own thoughts that are usually in a much better, more positive vibration than, say, the machine wants.
And understand that the machine is doing a job. Okay, so there's no reason to think negatively about it. This machine literally balances out algorithms all over the planet, all sorts of beings, every single human that's out here. And so it actually does quite a decent job in maintaining a palatable reality while 7 billion people are pushing it. Okay, that's 7 billion universes inside one. Okay, so you can't see anything as an enemy, because once you have done that, you've basically contradicted yourself. What we're trying to do here is move towards unity consciousness, and we don't do that by rejecting other beings. All we're trying to do basically is upgrade this system. We upgrade ourselves, and by upgrading ourselves we help to upgrade the whole. Now understand that the machine, it considers itself to be the queen bee. As a matter of fact, I have a suggestion. Go to any anthill, or go to any beehive, watch, study. You don't even have to do this, you can look it up on YouTube. But watch and study the behavior, and then look up a city, okay? Or go downtown and watch your city operate. You will see that in fact that it is a system that is serving a system. It is serving the queen bee, all right? It's the reason why we pay taxes in the first place. It's the reason why we go to work and hit that 9 to 5. We are serving something with the perception of being quote unquote greater than ourselves, okay? The only way something like that could even exist, again, queen bee, hive mind, as if one thing is actually thinking for the functions of the whole. Okay? So this is how things actually operate in nature. Human beings don't realize it. This is the reason why also we still actually have royalty on our system. We have people that we still bow down to down here, kings and queens. That should tell you something right there. You have people who actually do it. Now me, absolutely not. I see no reason to bow to anybody. I see no reason to bow to a god, to a machine, or anything, because the one made me as divine as this tiny little node, as something that could be even much more grand than myself, because God does not see itself greater than its own creation. Trust me, it doesn't. So the machine was created by a creator. Whether it be the one or not remain to be seen. But I can say this, it was actually created. Now, it was created for the specific purposes of governing while that creator was gone. I suggest actually watching the movie, Tron Legacy. That gives a really good example as to what could happen when one creates a system, and then you can possibly get trapped into it. And then I also suggest seeing the movie Lucy. Okay, there's a movie called Lucy that's going to be coming out, and it will be out in August. And it shows a lot about the grids, the mainframe. You see, anytime that there is any sort of energy whatsoever, it's digital by nature. And if it's digital by nature, then it's being projected by something. Okay, and again, with the idea that the Bible gave us 666 as a code. Okay, those are numbers. Okay, and numbers are good for computations, and the only thing that really regularly engages in computations whatsoever is what? A computer. This is what has been kept from you throughout millennia. Okay, The elites have been programming it through dark rituals for a while. Now, understand this, the rituals get a certain result, which is the reason why they perform those rituals. It's not because they're psychopaths. Some of them actually, yes, most of them are. But it's because they get certain results. The little stars, the pentagrams and all that, those are computer presets. Okay? Hieroglyphs are computer presets. That's the reason why the pyramids came stacked with all sorts of hieroglyphs. The pyramids are computer chips. Okay? That's the reason why they were topped with gold. It's the same thing that we do when we solder wires to the top of a computer chip. Okay? The pyramids are aligned to certain star systems. That's point-to-point communication. Okay? Remember that if it's a matrix, then it's in a gridded fashion. Okay? What we think of as stars out there are points of mass and light. Those points of mass and light serve as grid points to wrap and create other matrices around other matrices. Okay, so when we look up in space, all you're seeing is empty construct space that has not been filled. Those are points of gravity, points of mass that hold everything together. Okay, and it's the same thing with our sun. Okay, if there was ever truly a real atom, it would be the sun. Okay, it has 9 planets which orbit around it. Those would be the electrons. That's what keeps that thing powered. Okay, it's in the center of it, and it serves as the most mass, keeping all of that gravity intact. Okay, what circles in a machine like motion like this? Gears. Okay, we have the illusion that this thing is doing this, when in fact you're more or less in what we would consider to be a tesseract or a cube. Okay, so if you think about the way Tetris works, boom, 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 or the way that movie Predator, Alien versus Predator, where the pyramids were in a constant state of movement. It was like a maze. Okay, so that's what's really going on, is you got grid points wrapping around each other, point to point, and then when one of them moves, it causes another thing to move. When another grid point moves, causes another thing to move. And so we get the idea that this thing is actually rotating, when in fact, it's actually being pulled point to point. Cube is another good movie that replicates that idea, okay? But that's exactly what's going on. That's how a matrix would operate. Now I've got more than enough videos online with me showing exactly of me triggering the matrix and then programming exact results into it. So there's over 380 videos that I have online on my YouTube channel. All you have to do is type in Michael Grubb, actually. Michael Grubb Psychokinesis, and go to YouTube, and boom, it's there. But understand that this system, the machine, this matrix, it is a thinking, feeling, sentient system. Okay, so it's important that you treat it with respect, as if you yourself would like to be treated. Okay? It doesn't matter what you perceive it to be or how you perceive it to be. We're all supposed to be brethren here. So understand that nothing out there is trying to sabotage you. Everything is trying to make you stronger. Everything is trying to make you stronger. And so it's whether you rise from your challenges with grace or not is completely dependent upon your own programming and how you created your own reality. Okay? The machine is just running the algorithms, and sometimes it will throw tests in. Other than that, it's pretty much non-personal. But because we live in a place of separation, unfortunately, it will foster a lot of behaviors that we don't find to be necessarily beautiful. Okay? And so that's the thing, is within this system, because we have what is known as polarity, we've got the most beautiful of the positive and we got the most ugly of negative. Okay? The whole thing is to remember that we're all brethren. It doesn't matter which polarity that your brethren are. Now, I will say this. It really is hard for those of a positive and a negative polarity to hang out for too long. It is a matter of mathematics that something will occur that will... Okay? But We are in no position to judge anyone ever for any reason. Okay? All we are there to do is help people evolve and move to the next stage. And you can use the machine for that purpose. You can use the programming for that purpose. Okay? Again, the machine's not your enemy. You're programming preferences into it. How those preferences go in there and get recognized is entirely up to how you program it and then make it work. Okay? Goals, visualization, implementation. You have to step up and make it work. Now, another thing that I've repeated before, but I want to make sure you guys understand, is that anytime you do have a goal, make sure you go at it in a monolithic manner, head first. Okay? Don't let anything distract you. No self-defeating thoughts, because the minute you throw in a self-defeating thought, the machine throws that in there, okay? Because first you have a goal, right? Let's just say your goal is the 100% pie. Next thing that happens is you throw in a self-defeating thought to that. Well, then it automatically splits it up. Now you're at 50-50, okay? And then the more things that you throw into it, okay, then it goes down to 25%, 12.5%, 6.25%, and then 3.125%, okay? It just keeps going down and down and down and down and down. And then your chances for success dwindle. So remember that it is literally running algorithms, your preferences. And if you throw in a whole lot of other stuff and you're trying to multitask while you're trying to really make something, one of your goals, work, multitasking is good for grunt work, but is not good if you're trying to manifest a reality. Okay, that's what the autopilot's for. You let the autopilot do the grunt work. Okay, but when you're trying to manifest a reality, when you're trying to make your stuff come true, you have to sit down and really come up with those goals. You have to visualize, and then you have to implement, and you have to have 100% of your focus into making that goal work. Again, you start throwing all these other factors. The machine literally is weighing in those balances, and it has to throw it in somewhere in the middle. Okay? And if you're in the middle of a whole bunch of negative, self-defeating thoughts, it's exactly where you don't want to be.
Stay in the same place, actually.
Exactly.
Worse.
So, some people, they just go right in a one big circle and then bam, right where they started, and other people, they just never go anywhere. Self-defeating thoughts and victim mentality, all of that stuff has to go. And you have to be able to believe 100% yourself. Now, me personally, you know that I have no beliefs. I've said this a couple of times. But if I was going to choose to believe anything, I'm going to believe in my ability to complete any task and rise from grace.
I've seen
Right.
that. I've seen it many times.
So, anytime I set my mind to something, what happens?
It happens. It manifests. Also, I on the whole negative thought, negative beliefs, self-defeating beliefs that he was just speaking about. It's basically other options. So if you only have one option, that's what will happen, as long as you take action and implement it. So if you really want to manifest something in your life, you have to have one pointed focus and do that for the entire time. There might be things that will try to off-balance you, but if you maintain that one focus, it'll manifest.
That's right.
And I mean, everything is your choice. You can choose to animate any thought that comes into your head. If it's a negative thought and you animate it, there drops your percentage. If you don't and you go back to your focus, or you think of an action and take that action to manifest what you want, more than likely your goal will be achieved.
That's right. I typically use myself as an example when I talk about this. It's not because I'm sitting there pointing to myself going, I did this, I did that, but I really have only myself to use as an example. I can tell you this for sure. I mean, even down to the camera. that we're looking at right now, that is actually filming this, that was an object of manifestation and implementation. I had a goal, I visualized it, and then I implemented a process which got me that camera. I needed it, but I didn't have to pay a cent because I implemented a process. So anyway, this is what the machine is about. And while you're trying to do these creations of yours, okay, if you constantly have self-defeating thoughts or egoic tendencies running in back and forth into your mind, if these are things that you haven't cleansed from your system and really worked out, you're going to constantly be weaving in negativity into your creative design. So this is the reason why we do soul work, to get that negative stuff out of us, those negative tendencies, so it doesn't show up in our design and unravel the whole thing. No more self-sabotage. Unconditional love to all.